I'm pretty nervous. I told those guys from Corpus a while ago that I got a guy from Corpus over here who wants to talk to me.
Yeah.
They got excited.
Hey, welcome everyone. This is the IYB. We are here in Cloudcroft, New Mexico, 9,000 feet above sea level, about 800 miles from my hometown. And you may be wondering why I'm at a barbecue joint. Well, Mr. Mad Jack himself has close roots to our hometown. And so I wanted to sit down and have a quick little interview with you. And I wanted to start off by tell us about your business. How'd you get started?
Oh man, that's a long story.
This is a long way from home, but
yeah,
if you can make it short.
It's hard for me to make it short.
All right.
I grew up in Lockhart. You ever been to Lockhart?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so just south
Barbecue
of Austin.
hometown.
Yeah, it's the barbecue capital of Texas.
Yes,
There's
sir.
famous places there. And, kind of what got me hooked. I was in the car business for 30 years with my dad. He had a real small Chrysler Dodge dealership. And, as I got older, I just didn't like the car business at all. And, I was always in and out of those old barbecue joints, Blacks, Krites,
Yes, sir.
and even Chisholm Trail and some of the other guys. But, and I knew all those guys real well. I went to high school with some of them. Roy, or the pitmaster at Krites, I went to high school with him. He was about a year younger than me, I think. And then Tinker or Floyd Jr. from Chisholm Trail Barbecue, I went to school with him. So I knew all those guys. I know Pablo down at Smitty's.
You got a lot of deep roots.
Oh, yeah. When I was in high school.
In the barbecue world.
When I was in high school, I worked at Black's, the original Black's.
Really?
Yeah, I worked for Mr. Edgar Black, the old man.
Oh, man.
And because I was just a kid and I didn't do any actual barbecuing. I was just a kid that swept the floors and cleaned the toilets and stuff.
That's where you start.
Yeah, but I was in there all the time. And of course, I was in and out of those places all my life. And I always thought they were kind of cool. I love the atmosphere of those old barbecue joints,
Yeah.
And it's just something different. They're not like a regular restaurant to me. This just barbecue's a totally different thing because for one thing, it's more of a craft that takes, hours and hours to do.
Yeah.
And it's something about going in those old buildings, especially, the original Krites building, which is now Smitty's or Black's Barbecue. Those old buildings, they've got a lot of character. You go into
Yes, sir.
to Smitty's, the original Krites building. The walls are stained with smoke, and I always thought that was kind of cool.
Yes, you can't incorporate that feeling. You can't. You can't duplicate that.
Yeah, you can't. So anyway, I always kind of liked it, and I couldn't trying to think how to make a long story kind of short. In 2009, I've been working for my dad since 1980. When I got out of high school, I went to help Dad. And he has a small place. It's just me, my dad, and our mechanic, Pete. And so anyway, in 2009, Chrysler was having some financial troubles, and the government actually bailed them out. And when they did, Chrysler pulled the plug on over 800 franchises.
Oh, damn.
I guess if you weren't meeting a certain sales quota or something, they just pulled the plug.
Okay.
So anyway, my dad lost his franchise in 2009. And, all those years, my dad, he was, how you say? Muy coro? How you say? ¿Habla español?
Sí, un poquito.
He's very tight with his money.
Oh, yeah.
And
I understand that.
Yeah.
That's any language.
Yeah. And so anyway, he ran his place. We didn't have air conditioning and it looked kind of run down, And I always thought someday, me and my dad got along great, but I thought someday I could fix it up and kind of do it more the way I wanted to, make it nice,
Yeah.
And so when Chrysler pulled the plug on it, that ended that dream. And I can almost remember the day I shifted to barbecue. I was outside, and it was kind of a day like it is here today. It was cold and gloomy.
Yeah.
One of those cloudy winter Texas days,
Yeah.
and it was windy. And I was outside. Dad wouldn't buy a pressure washer. He wouldn't even buy that little thing you screw on the hose. They'd use your thumb. And I was outside washing the truck, and since Chrysler pulled the plug on our franchise, we just started selling used, mostly trucks, but used vehicles. And, we lost our franchise, and that kind of killed my dream of being the Dodge dealer. And I'm out there on a cold winter day outside washing the truck, and my pants are getting wet because the wind's blowing. And I was like, I don't know, about 46, 47 years old or so. And I remember thinking, God, why, here I am in my 40s and I'm just a wash boy out here washing this, and I'm never going to have the Dodge dealership now. I'm just going to be a used car dealer. And I didn't want to do that. And, but I always think the man upstairs was taking care of me, because that day for lunch, I went down to Smitty's, and I walked into Smitty's, which, like I said, is the old Krites building. It's a lot of atmosphere. You walk in the back entrance where all the locals go, and there's a live fire right there. As soon as you walk in, the walls are stained with smoke,
Yes, sir.
And I remember talking to Pablo there, one of their pit masters. And I remember thinking, God, man, I would love to own a place like this. And it probably wasn't the first time I thought that, but I remember thinking that, and going back to the car lot and telling my dad, that maybe I'd like to have a barbecue joint someday. And he just kind of laughed. He said, well, he said, he's real practical. And he knew I kind of fly by the seat of my pants and think he was kind of worried about what I might do. So he said, well, he said, if you ever want to do that, you ought to get you one of those food trailers just to see if you like it. I don't think he thought I would really like it or be able to do it maybe. And so I put the thought in my head. And it's about a year and a half or so later, I was able to finally save up enough money to buy a trailer. Matter of fact, it's that one right there. So anyway, I bought that trailer over in San Antonio, and it was bright orange, didn't have this vinyl wrap on it. And I drug it up to my dad's car lot, and none of my friends knew what I was dreaming about doing because I knew they would think I was crazy.
Yeah.
Because at that time, I'd never barbecued anything. I mean, I'd grilled a hamburger patty or cooked maybe a chicken leg or something, but I never really truly barbecued stuff. And so, and I didn't tell them what I was thinking. They just knew me as a car guy. I pull it up, and one of my friends saw it, and they said, "What are you doing with that food trailer?" And I said, "Oh, I'm gonna sell barbecue." And being there in Lockhart, in the barbecue capital of Texas, and they knew I didn't know how to barbecue. They just laughed and they said, "Man, you done lost your mind. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to barbecue." And anyway, that's where the Mad and Mad Jacks originated from.
Okay.
Mad like in crazy.
All right. That was part of my questions.
Yeah,
You got it.
I always ask me, they don't look mad, but it's not that. It's like my friends,
Your friends thought
they
you were
all
crazy.
thought I was nuts. And that might have helped me a little bit because I took that trailer home. I'm like, oh, I'll show these guys, And so I took it home and I practiced for about a year. I lived out about 5 miles north of Lockhart. And I was obsessed with it.
And you reached out also from what I understand.
What happened, when I was working for my dad all those years, I was really into old cars. And it started out with muscle cars from the 60s, and that involved and turned into drag racing. I started going drag racing all the time. And I got kind of obsessed with drag racing. And, I raced for bracket race, what they call bracket racing, for years, mostly in Temple Academy Dragway in San Antonio at the old Alamo drag strip and at the Merriam track. Anyway, I raced for a long time without really being very good, And my dad told me, he said, I can tell you what you need to do. You need to start hanging out with the guys that are winning all the time, And there's a few guys there that were known to be really super good. And so I got to kind of watching what they were doing and really, like I said, I was obsessed with it. And so I started paying attention to what the very best guys were doing to win. And sure enough, I never was as good as them, but I got pretty good. I got better.
I found that it's very shocking that you can just reach out to somebody at that level and they'll share that information with you. And you think they wouldn't, right?
You would think they'd be top, real secretive about
it.
Even at the drag
strip, want you to be part of it.
I was hanging out with Marky Rodriguez and his daddy and Wayne Hoffman and Scott Ball and some of these guys that were track champions and just really good racers. And they would be more than happy to help you. Of course, it was up to you to really capitalize on their advice.
Yeah.
But so anyway, watching what they did and everything really helped me a lot, and I got pretty good. And anyway, I took Dad's advice on paying attention to the guys that are the best. And so that year I was practicing in this trailer. By that time, and that's been about 11, 12 years ago. Even by then, Aaron Franklin in Austin had gotten really popular with his barbecue. And, Lockhart was always known as the best in Texas. But at that time, I felt like Aaron Franklin kind of raised the bar just a notch.
Yes, he did. He got scientific with it.
Yeah. He's a pretty sharp guy. And so anyway, like a lot of guys now, I started pretty much just copying what Franklin does.
Yeah.
And I started emailing him and asked him questions. And I don't remember what I asked him, probably something pretty stupid. And I remember one of the questions I know is pretty stupid. But anyway, I would start emailing. He would super nice. I mean, even then he had to be busy. I mean, I'm busy here. I can only imagine him, having the time to reply to my stupid questions. But he replied to everything I asked him. I emailed him several times. He always replied to me and gave me some advice. And of course, I learned a lot watching his YouTube videos, like a lot of guys have.
Yes, sir.
It's like I've heard someone the other day talking about pre Franklin and then after Franklin. And, after Franklin, a lot of the guys like myself have learned a lot from his videos. And everything got real popular on YouTube and stuff where you can research stuff easily. So pretty much my method of doing things is pretty much copying his methods. Is way closer to his methods than the Lockhart guys. Lockhart, a lot of the guys in Lockhart are cooking kind of hot and fast, and we cook low and slow. We're doing 13 hours or so on the brisket, and we're using all natural prime brisket from Creekstone Farms, which are expensive. And the A lot of a lot of the old school guys. Some of the guys like Terry Blacks are using Prime, I'm sure, and maybe some of the old school guys have changed. But for the longest time, they wouldn't use that expensive brisket.
Yeah.
So even when I started with the trailer, I found out that Franklin got his briskets from Creek's own farm, so I started getting the same brisket, paying way more than the Lockhart guys at the time. And anyway, the after about a year or so of practicing, because I had to learn how to make barbecue sauce and pinto beans and all the sides and stuff,
Nice.
mac and cheese. And so spent many a night in that trailer till 1 o'clock with my little radio going, trying to learn how to do stuff. After about a year, I thought, well, if I'm going to do it, I need to do it.
Yes, sir.
I didn't want to. I knew by that time I wasn't going to embarrass myself, but I was still a little reluctant, But I drug that thing. Like I said, I've been blessed. My dad had a prime location in the middle of town, so I drug it out to my daddy's car lot and had that vinyl wrap put on it and set it up just on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't take long. The trailer got real popular because we did things a little different. We had pulled pork sandwiches. We had a variety of sandwiches that most of the old barbecue places didn't have. And anyway, its popularity was kind of my downfall. The city came out, and when I first opened, they said you got to have a restroom within 200 or 300 feet. They had a formula they used. They said you got to have 9 parking spots. So I got out there with yellow paint and painted off 9 parking spots. But after it got popular, they came out and said I needed more parking. They wanted me to build permanent restrooms, and like I said, that's another story in itself. But it was just everything that which required. They wanted me to tear down a little building we had out there to add more parking. They wanted to change it from 9 to 20.
Once again, you were getting
I don't
crushed
even have
again.
20 here. Oh yeah, they pretty well closed me financially. I just couldn't do all the stuff they wanted me to do. And remember, because I went down to City Hall and had a meeting with them, and I remember leaving there feeling kind of depressed because they pulled the rug out from under me. And yeah, it's funny now they got food trailers in Lockhart with no restrooms and stuff. But anyway,
You were a pioneer.
yeah, different people back then, I guess. But,
Yes, sir.
anyway,
But I wanted to hit on something. You were 40 years old when you felt like, man, you were almost
I
having
was like 47.
47, and you're having almost like this midlife, like, wow, like what now? And I've seen a lot of people that go through this, like they start something and it falls, and they almost have this feeling like it's over. And you're like, it's not over. You keep pushing. You find new ways.
I had a young person in here yesterday, and they were getting ready to go to school. A young girl getting ready to go to UT, and I asked her what she wanted to study. And she said, I don't know. And I could see that look on her face, like she didn't know what she was going to do. And I always think about that because I didn't figure out what I wanted to do till I was about, time I bought this trailer, I was 51 or so.
Yeah.
50, 51. And I was at least in my late 40s before I really figured out what I wanted to do. So, it's never too late to start something new. And I don't think you have to be, I personally like a challenge. So I don't think you have to be scared of a challenge. The key is to be fortunate enough to find something that you have a passion for, something that you're obsessed with.
Yeah.
If you have a passion for it, you can. You want to be, if you have a passion for being a plumber, you're probably going to be a badass plumber. You just got to have a real passion and want to be the best,
When you say having a passion, are you saying like, you're not worried about an 8-hour schedule. You're going to work all day. Yeah. Your work has become something else, something greater, something beyond.
Yeah. And it's of course, anything you do, you got to make a profit, you got to make a living.
Yeah.
And, but everything I do, even today, been here almost 10 years. I don't look at it as I don't sit at night thinking, how much money can I make? I'm not trying to get rich or make a lot of money. For one thing, in this business, you're probably not, I don't know how you'll ever get rich, but anyway, but it has nothing to do with money. You have to have a passion for it. And what helps me a whole lot is I'm very much a people person.
I've seen that. You were out there talking to everybody.
Oh yeah, I love people. Like I said, there was a family from Corpus over there a while ago I was talking to. And this location up here on the mountain, I'm with White Sands just down the road in Holloman Air Force Base. Mm-hmm. I get to meet people, from all over the world. And I love that. Something about, I think maybe growing up in Lockhart and being in that shelter in that one little town. And, we might meet somebody from Austin, maybe San Antonio or something. But here I meet people from, Venezuela and I had Guam in here the other day and from all over the world.
It's interesting because I looked up the population. It's like 200 people. But when you come here, it doesn't feel like 200 people. It's just like a rotating door. And how the hell did you end up here?
Well, yeah, that's all part of my story. we used to, because you know how hot it gets back home. In July or August, me
Yeah.
and my family, we would come up here, not so much just Cloudcroft, but my first trip to New Mexico, we went to Red River, and it's the northern part of the state. But all these little mountain villages went to
Mhm.
Red River, Angel Fire, and Eagle's Nest. And then down here, this is a little closer from Lockhart. I can get here in about 11, 10 and a half, 11 hours. And so we started coming to Rio Doso. I didn't even know about Cloudcroft at first. Every summer, we'd come for, about a week and cool off.
Mhm.
And it was probably 4 or 5 trips here before I discovered Cloudcroft. And anyway, when the city started giving me all that trouble about the trailer, I was going to tell you when I left that city hall meeting, I felt kind of depressed, and I was saying, well, I can move my trailer to Austin or San Marcos or something, but it would cost too much to set it up. And I was still helping Dad during the week.
Mhm.
Dad needed some help. He worked up in his 80s, 86, and so anyway, everything just fell into place. We used to vacation up here, and I had this dream of maybe someday living in the mountains. And it was just a dream because I didn't have no money. But I was looking on the internet, and I wasn't thinking barbecue. I was looking at little cabins,
Yeah.
thinking someday I'd love to live in the mountains, because it's so nice in the summer and beautiful up here. And I'd been in Lockhart my whole life. Um, so around that time, the city's giving me all that trouble. I've been looking at real estate, and I noticed this building I have now. It'd been for sale for a couple of years, but right around that time, they slashed the price on it and made it look pretty reasonable.
Mm.
And I knew it's 2-story, and I thought, man, maybe I could live upstairs and sell barbecue there.
Yeah.
And but like I said, I couldn't afford it. I didn't have no money. And but it was about that same time, my dad, he had fell at work and broke his hip. My mom had already passed. So I moved Daddy in with me, and I took him to work in a wheelchair for quite a while. But I'm really glad he got to live long enough to see the trailer popular. He saw long lines at the trailer, and I think he liked that.
Mhm.
Even today, our chief, because Dad was so conservative, so he pinched his pennies, and he'd send me over to Chisholm Trail Barbecue, which in Lockhart had some of the cheapest barbecue, and they had a chopped brisket sandwich that was
Yeah.
really cheap. And so our chopped brisket sandwich here is named after my dad because that's all he would eat is that cheap sandwich. So we call it the Kirk Jackson.
Nice.
Uh, but anyway, Dad's health was declining, and he was by this time he had bad chronic lung issue, and he was actually on hospice care. But he called me at his bedside one day and told me a story about his grandpa and his dad, how they had worked their whole lives. My great grandfather was just a farmer; none of them had money, and but he told me how they worked their whole lives and pinched their pennies and saved a little bit and kind of passed it down generation to generation. I guess I was blessed that Dad was one of just 2 kids in his family. If it had been 10 or 12, like a lot of families back then, the pie would have got cut in small pieces.
Mhm.
But several generations of men, on the Jackson side of my family, working hard and saving stuff. And he was telling me, basically, he was telling me that he knew he didn't have much time left, and he was going to leave and leave me a little something that he had squirreled away. And anyway, he also told me about some hidden treasure. And it wasn't but about 3 weeks later that he passed. And it's kind of a neat story. But anyway, I found the hidden treasure. Me and my brother. I have one brother, and so anyway, we sold the little bit of cars we had left. Like I said, we didn't have the franchise anymore, so we didn't have a lot of inventory. But we sold the cars that were left. Took that hidden treasure that we found. I took my share of it, and I took mine, and I bought this building up here.
Wow.
And anyway, yeah, Dad had some hidden treasure in the trunk of a junk car. But like I said, that's another story.
But you
Anyway.
took that hidden treasure.
I came up here and I bought this building, and I told City of Lockhart not to worry about me. They kept telling me, "You better build those restrooms," or
Yeah.
one of the city councilmen came out and fussed at me one time about it. But I told him, "Doctor, don't worry about it. I'm leaving. I'm headed to New Mexico." And then again, I think my friends thought I was crazy again, and I drug that trailer up here, and I came up here thinking, that there's not many people live here. I thought it'd be me and maybe 1 or 2 helpers, kind of laid back. And I pictured a few customers coming in, and we'd stop, maybe play dominoes, shuffle dominoes, or play cards or something.
Yeah.
But I opened on Memorial Weekend of 2015, and it was crazy that very first weekend. But every year it's gotten crazier and crazier. You can see this is our slow season. You can see the line.
How have you kept up with inventory, manpower, supplies? You're growing. You're
The challenge up here is definitely finding good help.
Yeah.
I have a really good crew, but I'm blessed to have them because it's a challenge. There's not many people live here, and we got Alamogordo just 16, 17 miles away. But it's on the winter time. We'll have ice on the road and stuff, and it's hard
Yeah.
for people to drive up sometimes. It's a challenge,
I've seen
especially to keep the quality where I want it. Cause I'm real picky about things. So.
Yes, and I've seen that you had challenges where you've had to close down because
Oh, yeah.
short man, and so you've found ways to work
There's been,
around.
several times I thought I was going to have to close. One time I had 3 employees that were leaving us, and sometimes this business is just not for them. But
Yeah.
at that time, I think I had 2 really good young people that were moving off, going to college, and another guy that got a better job offer or something. But I was losing 3 all within a week or 2, and I'm like, golly, what am I going to do now?
Mhm.
I thought it was because I had to have 7 to 8 people on the line to operate on a day like today, and I thought, man, I don't know how I'm going to do this. We have guys that cook at night because we do all wood fires, no gas. So I didn't bring my post stove from Lockhart.
Everything.
Yeah. Well, that's how crazy I am, or how picky I am. About every 6 to 8 weeks, I would go on my big trailer, go down to Lockhart, get a big load of post oak and bring it up. And we have to have guys to help me unload it. We got split wood, and
That's no easy drive either.
got all my pits of wood fired. So you have to have night guys, to cook, to help us cook. And sometimes we're cooking out here and it's 5 degrees or something. It might be a blizzard snowing and we're still cooking.
I think it's cold today. And it's probably a warm day for you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty warm. Summers up here are beautiful though. A hot day in the summer is like 80 degrees.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty nice, maybe 85.
Yeah, you got to get used to this elevation too.
Yeah, we're 9,000 feet.
Mr. Mad Jack, I know you're busy. I know you got to get back to it. One last question is, what's next for your business?
Oh, we got big plans.
Yeah, I heard some rumors.
Yeah, the rumors are flying. Actually, there's a couple things on my radar. One I didn't tell you about. I have some property in Honduras, and it's on the island of Roatan, which is a beautiful Caribbean island. And it's getting to be real touristy. The cruise ships go there. They got an international airport. Anyway, I got a little house and enough property there right on the beach where I could build a little barbecue shack. And maybe Mad Jack's will go international.
Maybe.
But that might be as I kind of look at life as having different chapters, like a book, different chapters. And that might be my last chapter. But my next chapter is getting closer to my kids. My biggest regret about being here is kind of putting so much distance between me and my kids. I have a son in Lockhart, and I have a daughter in Austin. And then I have my oldest daughter in Corpus Christi. Mm-hmm. And my oldest daughter has 2 little babies, a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I was FaceTiming with my little 2-year-old grandson, Wyatt. And he said, "I love you, Papa Jack." And when he said that, I said, "That's it. I think Corpus Christi needs a barbecue joint."
I think they do. I think they do.
maybe you never know. I'm out head down to Corpus.
Yes, sir.
And build a barbecue place.
I'd love to see that.
That might be the next chapter. Then when I hit about 80, maybe I'll do that place in Roatan, and I'll live like Jimmy Buffett with my shorts and flip flops, and little Wyatt and my granddaughter Penny, they can come with me. And
I'd love to see your style of barbecue down in Corpus Christi. Of course, people do their own things, but I really,
I know y'all got some good stuff down there, but it'd be fun.
I love that Franklin style barbecue, and if because you've adopted it and you embraced it, you pushed it, I would love to see that down there.
Find me a perfect location, and I'll get busy.
All right, I'll look for it.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Mad Jack, thank you for your time.
Yeah,
I'll leave the links and all your information in the description. Thank you for your time. Pleasure.
Pleasure meeting you.
I hope to see you in
gonna
Corpus.
hang out a few days?
No, actually heading to White Sands here in a bit.
Oh, that's a good thing. You want to have lunch?
Yeah, I'll have lunch.
Cool. You don't have to worry about this line. I'll get you to the side door.
Oh, perfect. All right, guys, have a good one.
Yeah.